Seeing that it's 4 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. This is the Cape Cod Gateway Airport Commission. It's Tuesday, 16 August, and the time is 1600. We have a roll call, please, Sue.
Certainly. Chairman Griffin?
Here.
Vice Chairman Flores?
Here.
Clerk Weil?
Here.
Commissioner Beerworth?
Here.
Commissioner Bailey?
Here.
Commissioner DeGeorge?
Here.
We have a quorum this afternoon.
Thank you very much. I understand that Commissioner, oh, John, you're here.
I made it. Yes, my other meeting got over earlier than I expected.
Lucky you and us. Okay, would you all join in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I'll ask everyone to mute their videos so that we can not step on each other. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. We have minutes of previous meetings that Sue sent out. This is for 19 April and 17 May. I presume everybody's had a chance to review them. I have. And starting with April 19th, entertain a motion to accept if everybody's satisfied with them.
I'm not satisfied because I did not have a chance to review them because they came so late today. So please note my abstention as to both, please.
Okay. Who was that speaking? I can't. Was that Brad?
Bailey.
Okay, Brad, I can't see you, so I wasn't sure.
I don't know what's wrong with my camera. I apologize for that.
No worries. I can hear you clearly now and you're getting an outline when you speak. That's good. Okay. Having heard from Commissioner Bailey, and once again, if everybody else has had a chance to review the minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of April 19th, 2022 as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, additions, deletions? Okay, we have one abstention. All others in favor signify, raise your hand, say aye.
All right.
Aye. Okay, got it. Thank you. Next one would be 17 May, maybe same thing. Could we have a motion to accept, please?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of May 17th, 2022 as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion, additions, deletions, modifications? If none, everybody signify, raise your hand, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Okay, it's now public comment. The public is invited to join in and comment. Typically, it's not what you would call a dialogue. So if anybody wishes to address the commission, please just identify yourself and 2 or 3 minutes, tell us what is on your mind. And if we do respond, it'll be during our response to public comment. Do I hear any? Linda, you're there. You wish to?
I don't have any comments for you today, and I'm really here just to listen.
Very well. Thank you very much. Anybody else, anybody of the public out there that would care to address the commission? Hearing none, we'll close public comment and move on to report from, since we don't need a commissioner's response. We'll move on to the report from subcommittees. From Finance, Commissioner Weil, you got a report for us, please.
Norm, you're muted.
Don't know how that happened.
Well, there you are.
There. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance Subcommittee met on Tuesday, August 2nd. The meeting came to order at 8:33. All commissioners were present, meaning Weil, Flores, and Bailey. For old business, we went over F0422-6, review and approve an amendment to the lease signed between Cape Cod Gateway Airport and Ross Retrix HYA LLC for the land lease. I will not go into the details of it because it will be discussed at this meeting, other than to say that the item was voted to be moved to this full commission meeting. We moved on to new business, which was F0822-1. Review and approve the license agreement by and between Cape Cod Gateway Airport and HMI Parking Services LLC, 170 Toby Way, West Hyannisport, Massachusetts, for non-aviation related off airport access and land use agreement, license agreement for vehicle parking. Again, I won't go into details on this as it will be discussed, other than to say that the subcommittee reviewed it and we voted to move it to the full commission meeting today. Moving on to F0822-2, we review and approve amendment number 5 by and between Cape Cod Gateway Airport and the Horsley Witten Group in the amount of $105,000 to fund continuous PFAS monitoring and phase 4 reporting to meet the Department of Environmental Protection requirements. Again, this was something that will be discussed at this meeting. The subcommittee voted to move it to this full commission meeting for today. We went on to F0822-3, review and approve the license agreement by and between Cape Cod Gateway Airport and Heritage Turbines. Again, another item that will be discussed at this meeting. We reviewed it and we voted to move this to the full commission meeting. So again, it'll be discussed in detail today. And moving on to F0822-4, review and approve of license agreement by and between Cape Cod Gateway Airport and New England Aircraft Detailing. Not to be redundant, but again, we discussed it, reviewed it, discussed it, and it was voted to be moved for discussion and possible approval at this meeting today. We received a financial update. We do not get full updates. We only wish to receive updates of things that are either something that the commissioners need to know at that point in time or things pertaining to the finance subcommittee. So the meeting was concluded at 9:11 a.m. That's my
Thank you
report.
very much. Any questions, comments, additions, discussion? All right, thank you, Norm, very much. The next would be the Infrastructure and Marketing Subcommittee, and Commissioner DeGeorge, do you have a report for that, please?
We had canceled the meeting. We did not have enough for a quorum at the time. And given the items that were going to be discussed from the previous meeting, nothing had changed. There were no changes made. So we had canceled the meeting. And if there are any changes, it'll be discussed at this meeting today.
Thank you very much. I recall that now. Moving on to old business agenda items, and this is from the Finance Subcommittee. Commissioner Weil, would you read that in, please? 0422-07.
Yes, the COM 042207, it's a motion to approve amendment number 7 to the lease by and between Cape Cod Gateway Airport and Ross Retrix HYA LLC for a land lease of the fuel farm and fuel truck parking area, parcel G, totaling 5,125 square feet, to coincide with the expiration of their current lease in 2024. The sponsor was the Finance Subcommittee. It's been discussed before, and it was approved and moved to this meeting, and it may be acted on at the meeting.
Thank you very
today.
much. You have a second. You have a second. Thank you, Commissioner Bailey. Any discussion, Katie?
Sure. So when airport management completed the request for proposal documentation for the disposition of real property at 110 Mary Dunway, it also included the fuel farm that is owned and operated by Ross Aviation through leases that they have in place. The land is under control and custody of the airport, of the commission, and the building, as you know, reverted to airport ownership at the expiration of the existing lease, which expired on July 1 of this year. Per the terms of the lease, we would also be in a situation where the fuel farm itself would also expire and revert to the airport. However, we've been asked by Ross or Atlantic now, that we extend their ownership of the fuel farm so that they can maintain it and still offer fuel to their customers through their program and through their 2 tanks that they own. So we agreed to that. We don't necessarily want to own these tanks. They're older tanks. It's 2 10,000-gallon above ground tanks, double wall tanks. They meet all EPA requirements. But we do not provide avgas to any of our customers. We are only in the jet fuel business. So we agreed to let Ross Aviation maintain their ownership to the fuel farm through the end of their existing lease. So the document that has been presented to the Finance Subcommittee meeting is an amendment number 7 to their existing lease, which expires in February of 2024, allowing them to maintain the right to hold on to the fuel tanks and to enter into a land lease with us to maintain those fuel tanks and to continue using them. The lease itself includes terminology that refers to having pollution insurance, to maintaining the facility. They will continue to maintain it. It also includes typical fees that the airport would receive, such as a fuel flowage fee. That's not uncommon. We already get that from the existing operator, but it's identified even further in the lease. The amendment is the reason why we went for amendment rather than a 4 or 5 year lease was that we will come to lease expiration with Ross Aviation in February of 2024, and they would like to include it in the next master lease and negotiate maintaining those tanks in the next master lease. The additional square footage is 5,125 square feet. It includes the fuel tanks and includes additional space that they will need to be able to adequately park their refueling vehicles next to the fuel farm. Any comments or questions from the commission?
And this was forwarded and approved by the Finance Subcommittee. If there's no further discussion or questions, I'll entertain a motion to, well, we've already got the motion. This is seconded. Call the question. All in favor, raise your hand, signify aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Next item, we move into, looks like new business. And let's see what we got here. I've got to get this in order. All right, this would be COM 0822-1, and this is Finance Subcommittee. Vice Chair Flores, would you read this in, please? Commissioner Flores, Vice Chair, you're muted.
Okay, I'm back. This is COM 08222. The motion is to approve the license agreement by and between Cape Cod Gateway Airport and HMI Parking Services LLC, 170 Toby Way, West Hyannisport, Mass. 02672 for non-aviation related off-airport access and land use license agreement for vehicle parking. Sponsored by the Finance Committee, may be acted upon.
For a second, please.
Second.
Very well. Katie, discussion?
Sure. This is the lease that we have sent to you for review. It was sent initially to the Finance Subcommittee meeting. The license is similar to what we already have in place under our last contract or last agreement with HMI Parking Services, with the exception of the following. The license agreement will be for a term of 3 years rather than 1 year. We had 2 one-year programs with them. We just wanted to see how our relationship with HMI Parking went. They've been good partners with us to allow for vehicle parking in that location. I'll show you the location in a moment. And it's been working out well. So we agreed to go to a 3-year rather than a 1-year license agreement. It will increase, the license agreement will increase annually at a flat rate of 3%. The license agreement will include an initial 20% deduction in the monthly rent in month 1 of each anniversary year of the agreement to account for improvements that they're making to the area. Right now, they are parking vehicles on what was a grass parking lot. And each year they bring in gravel to reinforce the drive lane and to supply a more structured surface for the vehicles to park on. So we've agreed to, we negotiated a reduction in rent to allow for that. The dollar amounts have been identified and established in the contract. In year 1, right now we're charging about $1.34 per square foot for non-aviation land use leases, and that's what we'll be charging them. That will increase in year 2 by 3%, and then in year 3 by another 3%. The 3-year discount to account for the improvements that they're making, the gravel that they bring in, accounts for $1,885. So that's what they agreed to be able to bring that gravel in. The total amount for the 3-year period is $111,270 for the airport. Airport management is asking for approval of the license agreement and any questions that you may have regarding this license.
Any questions on the lease? You've all had a chance to see it, or most of us, and the committee has approved it. Any discussion, questions?
I would just make 2 comments, Mr. Chairman. One is
Yes,
we did
please.
discuss the fact that, that the rental revenue that comes through renting car space can be quite high, and we're aware of that. And in addition to that, a general comment has been made in general, as we look at the cost of living increases at 3%, that we need on an ongoing basis to just pay attention to that number in an inflationary environment, and potentially review it in the future if conditions warrant. But this is an ongoing relationship. The big major change is an extension into a 3-year rather than a 1-year.
Well noted. Thank you. Anything else? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor? Yep, sure. Go ahead, please.
This is just the location. So gravel has been added. I just wanted you to see, obviously you can see it's a grass field. Gravel has been added to this drive lane and down the middle for them so that they're able to move cars in and out without getting stuck in the mud, or, if it's a wet season. So that's what we agreed to.
Gosh, maybe someday we'll have mud. Been a little dry this August. Okay, we'll call a question. All in favor, signify, raise your hand and say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, back to finance. Still there. Who's next on finance?
I am.
Brad, of course. Sorry about that. I don't have it in
Right.
front of me. I should know that. Would you read -2 into the record, please?
I'd be happy to. COM 0822-2, motion to approve amendment number 5 to the lease by and between Cape Cod Gateway Airport and Horsley Witten Group in the amount of $105,000.00 to fund continued PFAS monitoring and phase 4 reporting to meet the Department of Environmental Protection requirements. Sponsor finance may be acted upon.
We have a second, please.
Second.
Thank you.
Katie, discussion?
Sure. Thank you. This amendment is similar to the requests made in previous years in preparation of meeting the airport's reporting requirements as they pertain to PFAS and PFAS reporting that's required by DEP. This is phase 4 reporting. It will outline the following: implementation of the selected comprehensive remedial action plan. So I've mentioned this before to the commission. Basically, the DEP has it outlined in their hazardous waste materials program that we follow a phased reporting program, which we have been since the start of our evaluation and investigation into firefighting foams that have PFAS in it at the airport. We've, as you know, as part of phase 1 and phase 2, we did our initial determination of where we had high levels of PFAS due to firefighter foam. DEP basically identified 2 sites on our airport. Of the 639 acres, about 2 acres were identified as being impacted by firefighting foams. We have mitigated those 2 sites. One mitigation site has an asphalt cap on it. The other mitigation site has a polyfiber cap on it. Hopefully in the future that will turn into a asphalt cap, but they both act as the same type of cap, which means that rainwater cannot get in further into those soils that have PFAS in it and further get into drinking water or groundwater. So now that we have those 2 caps in place, phase 3 identified possible options for full mitigation. DEP commented on that phase 3 report as well as the public, and then phase 4, which is what we're going to be completing now, is that final mitigation. It's the final selection of what the airport will do for a final mitigation as it's associated with PFAS and meeting those requirements of DEP. So that's what this phase 4 report will identify. The project includes a draft and final report. It includes post PFAS mitigation monitoring, basically the results of the cap and monitoring that has taken place after the cap, identifying, you know, are we still seeing PFAS in groundwater? Are we still seeing anything? The answer is no, we have not, but it will include that information and that data. It will include status reports that have been given to DEP, which identifies when the monitoring wells have been tested, where they were tested, and what the status of those tests and those results are. It will also include further forensic evaluation of PFAS. We've been able to fingerprint the airport's PFAS that's associated with firefighting foams, as well as fingerprint other sources that are not airport sources, so that we could clearly identify what is associated with firefighting foams, what is associated with other industrial sites that are off airport, that are coming downstream right onto the airport and affecting our property as well. And it will include any additional meetings that we have with our consultant team, DEP, and the public. So airport management is asking for approval of the PFAS phase 4 reporting in the amount of $105,000 to Horsley Whitney. Any comments or questions?
Yes, Wendy.
I'm curious why this is structured as a lease.
This isn't a lease, it's an amendment to their existing contract. Oh, I'm sorry. It should not say a lease. It's just an amendment to their contract. That should have said contract, Wendy. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. Good eye. Okay, now that we know that it's contract, not lease, all other conditions are exactly the same as stated and described. And no, I don't think there's a need to modify the motion, is there?
So, no.
No. All right. Any other discussion? Good call, Amy. Wendy, thank you. All in favor signify aye. Raise your hand, please. Aye. Any opposed? No. All right, that's unanimous. Thank you all. Back to Commissioner Weil. Would you read number 3 in 022-822-3?
Yes, sir. This is COM 0822-3. And it's a motion to approve the annual license agreement by and between Cape Cod Gateway Airport and Heritage Turbines for off-airport aviation-related airport access effective November 1, 2022, in the amount of $1,725. Again, this is something that is an ongoing process that we've had. It's sponsored by the Finance Subcommittee. It does reflect a rate increase, and it may be acted upon at this meeting.
There a second, please?
Seconded.
Thank you, Brad. Discussion, Katie?
Sure. This is the fourth year that the airport has held a license agreement with Heritage Turbines for the right to access the airport property for the purpose of loading and unloading equipment. For those of you who are not familiar with their location, they are located right next to Penn Davion on Hinkley Road. Their building, it basically backs up to our property that is being leased out to Penn Davion for vehicle parking. They have a loading dock or a loading door for equipment that they need to get in that can't go through their regular man doors. So with that, we've asked for them to file with us a access agreement. The access agreement has increased according to the April 2022 airport rates and charges modifications. The fee now goes from $1,500 annually to $1,725 annually. Airport management is asking for approval of this access agreement. Any questions or comments?
This is a continuation of an existing situation. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Any other questions, comments, anything? If not, I'll call a question. All in favor signify, raise your hand, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. And thank you. That's one more. Last agenda, full agenda item on the list. Vice Chair Flores, would you read this in, please?
Right, this is COM 0822. The motion is to approve the annual license agreement by and between Cape Cod Gateway Airport and New England Aircraft Detailing for off-airport aviation-related airport access as a non-concessionaire aircraft cleaner / detailer effective November 1st, 2022 in the amount of $1,725 and sponsored by the Finance Committee, and it may be acted upon.
For a second, please. Thank you, Brad. Yes, Commissioner Weil.
Nothing. I thought you wanted a second.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Once again, Katie, discussion sounds pretty much the same as the other one.
It is. This is similar. In fact, it even expires on the same day at the end of October of this year. The only thing different is the type of company. New England Aircraft Detailing enters the airport property. They go through security training with Christine and they pay for their badges just like anybody else that would need a badge on the airport. But they come here to do a dry wash on aircraft. Mostly they're catering to the corporate fleet or corporate aircraft that we have coming to our airport, but we've also seen them work on small single engine aircraft as well. Any work that they do with their dry wash, they take all of their rags and any supplies that they've used and they put them in their own garbage and bring them out. They don't leave anything here at the airport. Also, we've had our environmental team take a look at the substances that they use to do their dry wash. None of those substances have PFAS in them. They're considered green green substances that they use for the dry wash and to clean the aircraft. And Horsley Witten Group has reviewed that. Any comments or questions on any of that information?
And again, this is a continuation of an ongoing.
Correct.
Okay. Call a question. All in favor signify aye. Raise your hand, please.
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, that call unanimous. Thank you very much. And moving on to report of special committees, noise we had last month and we'll have it again in October. Yarmouth representative, I don't believe he's present today.
So hearing none, we will move on to the airport manager's report and updates.
Sure, thank you. There was one comment that was made soon after our finance subcommittee meeting about meeting documentation. I know that the Airport Commission does receive a lot of information from us and at different times. So we usually give you a packet of information for the subcommittees, and then we'll give you a packet of information for the commission meeting. Most of the time, those are the same documents because we're just forwarding what the finance or infrastructure subcommittee approved during their meetings to bring it forward to the full commission for final approval and review. So what we've decided to do, and this was based on an email, Brad, thank you for sending that email to us with some suggestions. So we don't want to confuse anybody. We want to make sure that you're getting the documentation you need. You know what is the most current documentation that you're receiving. So here's my suggested modification. So the financial reports that are typically sent out as part of the finance subcommittee, there's probably about 8 different PDF reports that are sent out. What Mary is going to do is she's going to combine those all into one packet. There'll be one PDF that you receive, and it will say something similar to this: financial reports as of, and the date that she created those reports. So if it was today, it would be financial reports as of 8/16/2022. Those same financial reports will be forwarded on to the full commission for their review. So we won't change that. We'll keep that as is now, but at least we'll have a stamp date on it so you'll know the most current one that we're sending. We're also going to send those financial reports at the same time that I send out the suggested agenda with all of the attachments for the agenda. So in other words, when I send out finance or infrastructure subcommittee agenda, we will include all of the documentation that's associated with the agenda items, plus that financial report as of that date, as of the day that we send that out. I'm hoping that that will alleviate some of the confusion, and at least you'll have a stamped date on the documents. Any comments or questions? Brad, you're the one who sent me the email, so any comments about another way to do this? We thought that would be the easiest.
I think that's a good thing to try. I have some concern though that the email servers are going to choke when they get big packages like that. So you may send something out and we may not be able to download it, but we'll find out.
Okay. The only other way that I can do it is to send you the documents with our town file share, because it allows you to send out a larger amount of documents that might not be accessible via email. But we can do it that way, but it requires you to just hit a download button to download all the files. It's up to the commission.
We'll try. Thank you.
Okay.
For the other commissioners, the issue that we were raising is that, and I'm speaking for myself, it's easy to get confused as we get these files, and we were looking for a way that we could ensure ourselves that when we see the file again, that we know we've either seen it before or that there is a change to the file that requires us to be able to take a look at it. So I'm willing to try the new method, and I share your concern, Brad. Sometimes the servers choke, but we'll see.
Thank you, Norm.
And normally I do send out a read receipt, and I'm sure you've seen that. And anytime a document is too large, it will get bounced back to me indicating that it was undeliverable. So, and you've seen that before where I've said to you, oh, the files are too big, you're going to get 2 separate emails from me. So if that's the case, then I'll have to reconfigure it, but at least let's try this to limit the amount of documents that you're getting. Maybe one email is going to be a little bit more sufficient or efficient, I should say. Okay. Any other comments on that topic?
No, just Brad, thank you for that suggestion. And I think it makes sense.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. That was good. Continuing, Katie, with your report.
Sure. Southern Airways Express, they're still kind of going up and down in the terms of the amount of passengers that they've been able to carry. I'm hoping to see them come forward through the fall. I have a meeting set up with Mark Sestari, who is our main contact for Southern, to see how we can continue on through the fall season. So I'll report back to you after that meeting with him. Our monthly financial review, we're getting close to closing out our budget year. So right now, we're unable, and if you remember correctly, at this time of year, we're typically unable to have a comparison between the previous fiscal year and the new fiscal year that we're in until they close the old one. So we're at that point right now. So as soon as we can get you some comparison documentation, which should be in the next couple of weeks, I will be sending you the financial review, which will show basically the end of fiscal year 2022 and stepping into the new fiscal year. Upcoming September finance items, be prepared to talk about the on-call planning and on-call engineering contracts that we hope to have in place very soon. On Monday, we posted the RFP for both of those on-call services. So we're waiting to hear back from our consultants to see who's going to bid on that. Cape Air and Hyannis Air Service, their lease in the terminal is has expired and is due for renewal. So we'll be working with that. And then hopefully we'll be in a position where we can identify a possible award for 110 Mary Dunn Way, which is the old Air Cape Cod building. We are setting up ourselves to have an interview with the bidder for that project. Infrastructure upcoming items, business plan update, review of upcoming events, and then we'll have a discussion of my conference that I went to regarding electric aviation and alternative fuels. So it was a very interesting conference, and it really has identified what we can do and what we can add to our business plan to make sure that we're ready for this inevitable change in the type of fuel that aircraft will use in the future. CARES Act projects, we're moving forward with the Mary Dunn Way extension project. I would say that we're pretty much on schedule, right, Matt? Yeah, sure, if you could.
So the actual work for the project is right on schedule. They're anticipating that the early coats of base pavement will happen probably next week. So they are moving right along. Unfortunately, as with everything, the supply chain impacts are hitting electrical components hard. So the long lead items right now are things like transformers and meter sockets that have to do with powering our new electric slide gate and the new pump station, which is part of the sanitary sewer. So those arrival times range anywhere from the Thanksgiving and Christmas time frame to the meter socket, which is the critical one, being in February of next year. So we have a meeting with Eversource tomorrow to talk about alternatives and options. Hopefully there is a way that we can work with Eversource to have one so that we can start and get the new one and work through that. But we'll learn more about that tomorrow. So product is on schedule, but those long lead items, they're out of Lawrence Lynch, our contractor's control. It's just the status of the industry.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks,
And
Matt.
we'll probably hit some of those supply chain issues as we move forward with the T-hangar and the airport operations renovation project. We've already had 3 meetings with our team. They are reviewing a lot of the work effort that needs to take place, a lot of the RFIs for the project. We hope to be in full demo mode by the end of this month for the project. We will be starting really, both projects will be worked on simultaneously, but we're really going to start with the demo of the T-hangar first, and then we'll move over to the airport operations renovation. So we'll be able to supply you with some more information as we really get started with that project. From a procurement standpoint, like I've already said, we have already had an evaluation team that has reviewed the bids that we received for 110 Mary Dunn Way, aka Air Cape Cod. We're in that process now. We are bringing the bidders in for the proposals that we received. We received 1. We're bringing them in for an interview, and hopefully we can start buttoning up that process. On-call engineering and planning, like I said, went out on Monday. On-call airline marketing, that is a September timeframe that we'll be putting that out. We will be working on an RFP for the main terminal parking lot. Our existing lease will expire here soon at the end of December. 1-year on-call painting RFP will be going out in a few months. Matt will be working on that. We have some interested parties in what we can do with the cafe in the terminal. So we'll be working on something related to that here in the near future. And then on-call marketing and social media, on-call and contractors will go out for that sometime September, October timeframe. We've already started working on the fiscal year 2024 budget. We just got into 2023, but we are starting on 2024 already. We have an internal meeting with our staff here on Thursday to go over some of the project items, and we'll keep you posted on that. The airport environmental assessment, we had a meeting internally with the group, with our on-call environmental planning firm that's working on that project with us, who is Epsilon, as well as their sub-consultants that occurred today. I should be getting a schedule for the EA here within the next week from that team. And it looks like the first public meeting regarding the environmental assessment will most likely take place at the end of October. Date to be determined, but it's most likely going to be the 3rd or the 4th week of October. I've already mentioned what we're doing with PFAS in the early agenda item. We're working on sign replacement with our new logo for the wooden signs. We're working on that. And then just dates to remember for upcoming events. We have the Cape Cod Young Professionals. They have their event here at the airport on Thursday, September 22nd. What time does that start, Sue? 5 p.m. that starts. It's always a nice event. We love to have commissioners join us, so please think about joining us for that event. We have our Cape Cod Gateway Community Event Series with the on September 24th. It's a great day for the Gateway. We're celebrating America on Cape Cod from 11 to 4. It's going to be all military themes. We have a lot of static displays. We have a lot of military presence. We have honor guards that will be here. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's really coming together. And then we're moving forward with our Southeastern Massachusetts Aviation Career Fair. That will happen on October 20th from 8:30 to 2. Our goal is to have 45 vendors or exhibitors that are here for the students. We anticipate that we'll get about 450 students like we had last time. I did hear from the coordinator for STEM in this region. She is from Cape Cod Community College. She is looking to see how we can get more people involved from the state, because this is STEM week. It's happening during STEM week. And the state does like to see what's happening in different regions of Massachusetts to allow for students to get involved with STEM. So it looks like we might get a lot of recognition for our event happening here at the airport, especially since aviation is so important to get more students involved in either becoming pilots or mechanics or somehow involved in the industry. So she was very appreciative that we're putting on this event. So I think it would be a good event. At this point in time, we have 20 exhibitors who have signed on. Obviously I want to have about 45. We had 42 in 2019 when we did this. So I'd like to exceed that, hopefully with 45 or so exhibitors available for the students. That's all I have. Any comments or questions?
How's JetBlue doing? We get passenger counts from them at all, or?
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Griff. Sue, can you reach out to Griff Jenkins? Griff doesn't receive the passenger counts anymore, and the commission used to. So I just want to make sure we're still getting all of those and that we can forward them on to the commission.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any comments, commissioners' announcements, commissioners' comments?
Just question, what was the date on the young professionals?
It is the 22nd. Is that right? Yeah. Yes, the 22nd.
Okay.
Of
Uh,
September.
I won't go into detail, but I want to thank Katie and Vice Chair Flores. We took a facilities tour of the airfield a few days ago, and we saw a lot of stuff that was very, very interesting and good to have seen it. And I want to thank John and Katie for that. And it was John's idea, and it worked out very well. Anybody else? We're past the Ides of August. Summer's flying by. Can't believe it. The other thing I can't believe is we did this meeting in 45 minutes. Any,
Sunset's-
what's that, John?
I was gonna say, the sunset's coming earlier and earlier. It's 7:22 tonight.
Yeah, well, a week from tonight is my birthday, and plus or minus a minute, that's 7:30. And it's honest, if for some reason it's happened every year of my life, just the same. Well, thanks to everybody. Thanks for all your contributions and for a good meeting. And to all of you, till next time, we'll see. And we've got some great events coming up. I can't wait for the young professionals. That's always been lots of fun. And and of course, great day for the Gateway. That's good. The weather gods shine with us. That's going to be wonderful. So hearing nothing more, if anybody, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor signify aye.
Right.
Aye.
Opposed? I don't think so. I thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned and it's 16:47.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you all.